at one point, I thought, well, when I do a drawing, I noticed that I would put down lines and talk about that inner critic. That inner critic would go, is that where the line should go? Is that good? I don't know. Is this looking good? Maybe you should start over. Maybe you should find a new career. It's just constantly sort of chattering. And I thought, well, what if I closed my eyes, imagine what I want to draw, and only open my eyes every so often so that my pencil or your stylus doesn't go off the paper or off your iPad or your Cintiq. So I experimented with this, and these are some examples of it. And the way that the thinking behind it is, okay, in this case, I'm going to draw this little kid, and he's got a lot of sort of enthusiasm and wide-eyed, and I can see it in my mind's eye. So why don't I just shut my eyes and try and draw what's in my head and only open my eyes every so often so that, if I want to put the pupils in the eyes, I can put them in the right place. And I was curious to see what the difference would be between a drawing done with my eyes open, which is on the left, and the one with my eyes closed, which is on the right. And I felt like for me, the one with my eyes closed had more life, had more energy, had more spontaneity to it. I liked the way his arms turned out. I liked the look on his face, the proportions of the eyes, nose, and mouth I liked better. And it just seemed to have more energy. And so I did it a couple more times. Let me show you a couple others. Here's one, eyes opened on the left, eyes closed on the right. I felt like the pose got better. The expression on the face got better. Here's another one, eyes open on the left, eyes closed on the right. Now, I open my eyes to color it, by the way. I don't color it with my eyes closed. That would be a little bit difficult. But again, what I was finding for myself in the intention I had for the drawings is that they just had more spontaneity. There was there was more asymmetry, which I personally like to see so that it doesn't get so symmetrical. And the proportions ended up being better as well. And so I continued to do it. All of these lions were drawn with eyes closed, and again, just opening them every so often. And in each case, I would imagine the expression that I wanted and really, really see it in my mind's eye, and just sort of shut my eyes. And, for me, I just kind of draw with a passion. Like I'll feel the drawing, I'll open my eyes and then continue. These two little boys were done the same way. Again, just imagining. These two particular ones were some little kids I had seen. So I just sort of imprinted them in my head and then drew them with eyes closed. Same thing with these two characters. The one on the right was from imagination, but the one on the left was a teenager I'd seen in a grocery store. So just kind of remember it and capture it and put it down on paper.
You're really getting some of that Quentin Blake kind of spontaneity, that like getting out of your own way and just going without which is so fun.
Yeah, that's what I felt too. And I surprised myself how much more the proportions got pushed and the caricature got pushed when I would just close my eyes and imagine. This was just a page of thugs. I can't remember what I was doing this for, but just wanted to explore the different sort of shapes that their faces might take. And then all of these had been done on paper, and I could feel the texture of the paper, which I thought, well, that really helps just to kind of feel that your pencil or your pen on paper. What would happen if I did it on the iPad? So these were on the iPad, and I a little less tooth, of course, but it still felt the same kind of.
No, those could have been on paper.
Yeah. I still felt the same sort of effect. And again, I color them with my eyes open because that could be very messy. But again, another iPad drawing. This one in particular, I think you can tell with the line. I tried not to lift the pen, the stylus. I think in general that's the way I was doing these, because as long as the pencil or pen or stylus contacted the surface, I felt like I was more connected to it when I did it. So the thing that I've used this for now in a practical use is when I'm doing a thumbnail for a character design or a storyboard, I'll often do it this way. Um, and then if I need to adjust it, I'll just, put another sheet of paper over or put another layer in Photoshop, and you can kind of refine. But for me, the effect that I wanted in terms of spontaneity and asymmetry and proportions, I was really getting. And what I found, back to what we were talking about, is if you shut your eyes, your inner critic doesn't have access to be critical because it can't see what you're doing. And then you can really, really tap into that part of you that loves to draw, loves to express yourself in that way. Now, let me show you one other thing. This is another thing I love. My two daughters, I kept their drawings when they were children, and I loved how spontaneous they were and how fearless they were when they drew. And so as you see in the text here, children's drawings lack draftsmanship, but they make that up in fun and spontaneity and emotion. And I feel like artists can often lose this charm as you grow up and you become more aware of the rules. Like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that because perspective says it should be this way. Oh, that's way too big. That's not as big as it is in real life. Things like that. My one daughter would always draw many pictures of my wife. My wife has really full head of black hair. And on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, my daughter would put a little circle in the middle and then would spend the next hour just drawing hair. And I would ask her, what are you doing? And she says, I'm drawing mommy's hair. I love mommy's hair. And so that emotion that she connected to the hair, she loved it. So she filled the paper with it. And that's a good thing to remember is that the drawing is an emotional thing. And when you're expressing something, you're portraying something that you connect to an emotion with, either love, fear, worry, tension, whatever it might be. And that can be reflected in your drawing.